welcome back to another Borderlands 3 video. Today I'm going to be going over my Zane build on how pretty much I have been running them through trying to catch them up and also through the Malawan raid. And I also think this build will just get even better when we hit that level 60 cap, which hopefully comes in Mayhem 2.0 or a little sooner, maybe by late March. But just jumping right into the build, first 5 points I run is Synchronicity. Whenever one of or more Zane action skills are active, he gains increased gun damage for each active action skill. This is awesome because we are running the Sentinel and the Barrier, which is 40% gun damage right then and there. It's a phenomenal perk to have. Then from there, I do put 5 points into Donnie Brook. It is a kill skill. Whenever Zane kills an enemy, he and his digiclone receive increased gun damage and gain health regeneration for a few seconds. This effect stacks. The gun damage is an extra 40% thanks to my class mod. I think it's at maybe 20%. Let me just take that off for a second. 23%. So, I mean, overall, it still is a good perk to have, but with my class mod, it's just an extra 17% gun damage where you can't go wrong, and extra health regeneration. Moving on from there, in the green tree, I am running 5 points into Ready for Action. Now, the reason why I do this is when you have your barrier active, and with this build, it's almost always going to be active as long as you're shooting and killing, or even with just fighting a boss, you pretty much always have active too. There are occasional points throughout fighting a boss or fighting ads where explosive damage can hit you. If you're running the Transformer shield, sometimes there's a electricity AoE that's put onto the ground that also hurts you, and I don't understand why. But this just helps to make sure your shields are always active, and it's just a good overall 5 points to put, because we don't need hardy stock, and honestly we don't really need adrenaline. Then moving down from there, 5 points into Brain Freeze. Whenever Zane scores a critical hit on an enemy, there's a chance they will be slowed. This effect stacks until the target is frozen. I mean, Zane is godsend when it comes to freezing enemies and just destroying mobs and mobs of targets, especially with the redistributor. It's an amazing SMG, and almost everyone should have it in just about every single loadout. Now, we don't go into stiff upper lip or rise to the occasion because we're really not taking that much damage. We're, like I said, with the barrier, sometimes you do take damage, so we're not taking it over and over again. So that's why I just put 5 points in here to move down to Confident Competence. With this, while our barrier is active, we get an extra 35% gun damage and 33% accuracy. And with having barrier as my first slot, I do run charged reload for an extra reload speed plus movement speed, which also increases my damage. And I do run all-rounder, so the shield's covering front, back, and your sides. And it also adds cooldown percentage to the barrier, so you're almost always good. If it does run out, you'll be able to throw it out within 3 to 4 seconds. It's not a big deal if you do run out of your barrier. Moving into the Sentinel tree, first I put 5 points into Violent Speed. It's a kill skill that increases a movement speed, and the effect stacks. It's a really good perk to have, especially if you're running Violent Momentum, which increases the more movement speed he has, the more gun damage he has, which is phenomenal. From there, we are running Drone Delivery. We are running a grenade mod that increases weapon damage, action skill damage, and grenade damage as well by 25%. So for the most part, we always have the 6% going, or the extra 25% gun damage almost always active at all times. Then I do put 5 points into Cool Hand, mostly because the faster you can reload, the more DPS you're doing. And with the redistributor, I don't have a huge magazine clip with it, So this just really just helps out with that, and helps out with the Cutsman, the Lob, whatever gun you're using. This is perfect for it. Then 1 point into Death Follows Close for extra kill skill bonus by 25% and kill skill duration by 7 seconds. This also even affects our kill skill even more with the class mod that we are running. I'll get to that a little bit later. 5 points into Violent Violence, which increases our fire rate on killing an enemy, and it does stack twice, so we do get 40. We almost always have an extra 46% fire rate at all times. Playing Dirty. This is where I think the build could be changed up a little bit. So this is a kill skill that makes it so your next 5 shots has a chance to fire an additional projectile, but it's only a 75% chance. I would like my class mod to add 1 point into here and then 4 points into the other one, but sadly I got it different, so where it adds 1 point into here and then 4 points into Donnybrook. So I mean it's not a big deal, but I would like it to be at 90% or even 100%, mostly because since we're shooting more projectiles, we're doing even more damage to our targets. And then the 3 last skill points go into Mood Misfortune. Good Misfortune, sorry. This is a kill skill ability that on killing an enemy increases Zane's action skill duration. This skill has diminishing returns. But you don't really notice the diminishing returns, in all honesty. Mostly throughout like a whole trials or anything with this build, your sentinel is almost always active, especially depending on how fast you are hitting your crits and killing the enemies. And with this, your barrier is almost always going to be up too. This is probably the bread and butter of the build, mostly because we have high DPS and survivability, which is what I love to go for when making builds. Now, just looking at my classic loadout that I run now, it's not completely perfect, but I do have a redistributor that has, while Sentinel is active, gain 100% damage as bonus cryo damage. You can't go wrong with this weapon on Zane. I do have 2 Cutsmans. Sadly, they're on action skill ends, but I'll take what I can get. And then Storm Phaser also is actually a really good assault rifle that does pretty good damage. Has a huge magazine size, really good fire rate, and with Zane you can just completely just keep on unloading on enemies with this gun. I would kind of like to get one in fire, but it also has, while Sentinel is active, gain 100% of damage as bonus cryo damage. Now moving on to the bottom. Now, like I said, this build is not finished at all, but pretty much what I have on it is pretty damn good. I have the Transformer Shield, which is phenomenal for Zane. Like I said, you do manage to get hit by some explosions and by some random electricity damage. But with this, I have, while barrier is deployed, instantly start recharging your shields. This makes it so if I do take that damage, my shields instantly start recharging, especially with my with the ability, and I just went over it, with Ready for Action, with the shield recharge rate and delay. Just those 2 alone, just your shield's almost always up. It's amazing. I definitely would get a Transformer with this anointed for Zane and try it out for yourselves. Now over to the class mod. Seeing Dead is the class mod that I'm running, and I was really lucky to get weapon damage and SMG damage. Sadly, I do have dual weapon damage by 10%, but definitely would like to maybe get something else in the future. But this class mod makes it so whenever Zane damages an enemy with his weapon, he has a chance to automatically activate all his kill skills. Additionally, his kill skills gain a 25% effect bonus. This is an insane class mod. Honestly, I think this class mod is what makes Zane probably the best character in Borderlands 3 as of right now. But definitely go pick this up. I can't remember exactly where you get this one. It might be from the Handsome Jackpot DLC. I'm pretty sure now that I'm saying that. So go pick this up. You won't regret it. And then with my grenade, I am just running a recurring hex with that splits into 2 grenades in flight and spawns 3 more grenades. It does pretty good damage, but it is anointed with the on grenade thrown weapon grenade and action skill damage are increased by 25% for 6 seconds. A really overall nice drop to have on a grenade. And then actually for my artifact, I don't have anything to really affect my character in a way, but the only thing that really affects this build is the 3 bonuses I get. I do get an extra 18% radiation damage, shield recharge delay minus 32%. That's why my shields are always active with this build. And 23% action skill cooldown rate. You can't go wrong. This is the Zane build I've been running. Now obviously there's different Kuntzmans and the Lob. There's a bunch of different weapons you can run with this build. This is so far the only character that I have been able to put the exact amount of points in to get what I want. So when we start getting into level 50 or 60, I mean, there will definitely be some more fun. I definitely would like to go into Cold Bear and get the bonus cryo damage. I think would be a lot beneficial if they do increase it, the level cap to 60, and maybe go into something else. But as of right now, guys, that is the build. If you guys enjoyed the video in any way, if you found it informative, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and as always, I will see you in the next one.